Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of Two Live Sports. I'm your host, Armondo Black. And today we're going to be discussing one thing about it. The last thing any competitive person wants to receive is disrespect. And I'm hearing a lot of chatter among the Georgia Bulldog fan base that the Dogs, the defending SEC champions, are being disrespected this offseason. So that is what we're going to discuss on the very first episode of Two Live Sports. Are the Georgia Bulldogs and Kirby Smart being disrespected in this year's offseason in 2025? Get your popcorn ready. Let's talk about it. Good afternoon, happy Monday, and welcome to the very first episode of Two Live Sports. This is the world premiere of Two Live Sports. I'm your host, Armondo Black. I'm going to be here with you every Monday from here on out, discussing some college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, basketball, any sports-related news. We're going to be right here Monday discussing it. Today's story is about the defending SEC champions, the Georgia Bulldogs. Are the Georgia Bulldogs being disrespected this offseason? And let's take a look at it. Let's do the tale of the tape. Okay, so the Georgia Bulldogs, they go 10-2 in the regular season last year. They win the SEC championship game in Atlanta in overtime with a backup quarterback. So they go to 11-2. Then they get a bye and they play Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl, which you had a lot of things that was happening around that game. You had the death of Kirby's father earlier that morning. The day before, you had a shooting. So the game was moved to the day after New Year's. Excuse me. So you had a lot going on that day. That was a lot of distractions that was going on that day. So you would have to ask yourself, if it wasn't for the fact that Kirby's father passing away that morning, the shooting down on Bourbon Street, would Notre Dame would have won that game? Because if you look at it, there were two things that cost the Georgia Bulldogs that game. The strip sack fumble right before halftime, and then the miscue on the kickoff return. A couple of Georgia Bulldog players fell. They had a couple of missed tackles. Very uncommon. I can't remember the last time Georgia allowed a kickoff return. You have to go back. You have to go back at least maybe you had to at least go back like 11 to 10 years the last time the Georgia Bulldogs gave up a kickoff return. But they gave up one that night, and it cost them. It really, really cost them. So it wasn't a blowout. It was very competitive, and a lot of people feel that Notre Dame was the better team. I think Notre Dame had the better quarterback that night, but I do not believe that Notre Dame had the better team on the field that night. I think Marcus Freeman a better coach than Kirby? Hell no. No, he's not. But that night, Marcus Freeman, on that very given night, Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby Smart. So we go into the off season, and there are a couple of teams coming in with a lot of hype. One is Texas. Texas is coming in with a lot of hype. A lot of hype. They're loaded. They're loaded. They have Arch Manning at quarterback. They have a fleet of running backs. They have Anthony Hill returning. They're going to have the best defense in the nation this year. Texas is being hyped up a lot by the sports media, college football sports media. The second team that's coming in with a lot of hype is Penn State. Now, I agree with that. I think Drew Aller is definitely a first rounder and definitely a Heisman finalist. He's my preseason favorite to be in New York as a Heisman finalist. They're loaded on defense. They're loaded at running back. They're loaded on both sides of the football. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this right now. If James Franklin does not get it done, I'm saying at least win the Big Ten. At the least win the Big Ten. If he does not get it done and win the Big Ten championship, and what I mean win the Big Ten, there's no reason why he should not be able to beat Ohio State. I don't give a damn that the game is in Columbus. Penn State has a more loaded team coming into this season. Now, injuries can occur. Now, if injuries occur, I can understand that. But other than that, there's no excuse why Penn State should not win the Big Ten. They clearly have the best roster, the most loaded roster, and they have Jim Knowles as their defensive coordinator. In my opinion, next to Kirby, Jim Knowles is the best defensive guru in college football today as far as calling defensive plays. Kirby is the GOAT. Kirby is top dog when it comes to calling defensive plays, but next to him is Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles would be right. I would say Jim Knowles at number 2, Kirby Smart number 1. And the other team that's coming in with a lot of hype, and I'm not surprised at all, and I think they also have a first-round quarterback waiting, and that is Cabe. I want to hopefully I pronounce his name correctly, Cabe Kupnick. Clemson is loaded on both sides of the ball. They are loaded at receiver. They're loaded at on the offensive line. They're bringing back probably one of the most experienced offensive lines in the nation. And that defense is going to be nasty this year. A lot of people are predicting them to walk away with the ACC, a runaway with the ACC, basically saying that they should not lose a game in the ACC this year. They have a very tough opponent. They're opening the season with LSU. Now, LSU. And I look at LSU, and we're going to be discussing this a little later on. I'm going to save that for a little later on because we're going to talk about LSU in the upcoming shows. Let's get back to Georgia. Are they being disrespected this offseason? Well, they're very young. This is going to be the youngest team that Kirby has had, in my opinion. This will be the youngest team that Kirby is going to have to work with since he's been at Georgia. But am I confident that he can take this team to the promised land, maybe win another SEC title, and then maybe have a deep playoff run and possibly win a national title? If any coach can pull it off with this squad, it's Kirby Smart. They also went in the transfer portal and got, in my opinion, 2 guys that could go in the first round of the draft. That's Zachariah Branch from USC, and Noah Thomas from Texas A&M. Both Zachariah Branch can juke. This guy is explosive. If you do not wrap him up, if you don't tackle him when he catches the ball, he can break a tackle and take it all the way to the house. Noah Thomas is a home run hitter. He can beat you deep. Kind of reminds me a lot of George Pickens. He's tall, has a good size on him, very lengthy, great hands, and a speedster. I think he may be a little faster than George Pickens. So you have a deep threat in Noah Thomas and the return of Kobe Young. Kobe Young, incredible hands, incredible leaping ability. When I think about Kobe Young, remember the Bama game. He took over the Bama game in the second half. Everything Carson Beck threw to him, he caught it. Kobe Young is a bit. So you have a three-headed monster at receiver: Zachariah Branch, Kobe Young, and Noah Thomas. So we haven't even begun to talk about London Humphreys. London Humphreys in the slot could do damage, and Dylan Bell, Mr. Do-It-All. I can see him playing on Sundays because that is what general managers are looking for, a Swiss Army knife, and you have that in Dylan Bell. Since he's been in Georgia, we've seen this guy throw a touchdown pass, catch many touchdown passes, and run for touchdown passes. You can do so many things with Dylan Bell. And then you got Mr. Cash Jones, CJ. They call him Cash Jones. Remember the Tech game. Remember the Sugar Bowl where he caught the long touchdown pass. Cash Jones can hurt you out of the backfield, and he has great hands, and he can beat you down the field. So this Georgia offense is going to be a hell of a lot better than what it was in 2024. I can guarantee you that. Now at quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, in my opinion, he proved himself. He stepped in the second half of that SEC championship game, went up against one of the toughest defenses in the nation, if not the toughest defense in the nation at that time. Texas was playing lights out defense at the time, and he played pretty good against Notre Dame. I mean, the man can't throw the ball and catch it. There was some drop passes by Arian Smith. There was some key drop passes by Dylan Bell. It was just some missed blocks. He didn't really get the help that he should have got. A backup in his first start. I feel like the players around him kind of let him down. But the big advantage that Georgia has is he has an entire off season. He had the spring, the G-Day game. He looked good in the G-Day game. He has an entire off season. He went to football camp with some of the other quarterbacks that are projected to go in the first round, such as Lenore Sellers. He went to camp with Lenore Sellers. This kid is going to be dangerous. Gunnar Stockton is going to be dangerous because not only can he beat you with his arm, and he has zip on his ball. Not only can he beat you with his arm, he can also beat you with his legs. Remember that. So now let's look at the question marks. Let's just address the elephant in the room. The O-line is going to be young. And I think that is the main reason why a lot of experts are kind of doubting Georgia. Some are saying 3 losses. A number of them are saying 2 losses. I will say somewhere between 1 and 2 losses. 1 possible 2 losses. I'm very confident that they should make the playoffs because they have their toughest games. Unlike last year, their toughest games are at home this year. Where Georgia really has to watch out for are the games that they're favored to win, like games such as Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, and Georgia Tech. They're going to be favored in those games. They're going to be favored in those games. Now the question is, can they deliver? Can they win? They win the games that they're supposed to win. I'm confident that they're going to beat Ole Miss. I don't believe that. The thing about it with Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin tried to embarrass Kirby last year, and it is going to be payback when they do meet up in Sanford and later on in October this year. Bama. And some Georgia fans may not like what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to be totally honest with you. If there is a loss on the schedule this year, that will be it right there, the Bama game. Because until I see Georgia beat Bama, and I mean beat them, I understand we did what we did to them in Indy, but that was 2022, January 2022. We're in 2025. Can they beat them? Can they beat them? We got to see them beat them consistently before I can, say, hey, look at Bama on the schedule and say, hey, we can handle them. Because at first we was under the impression that it was a Nick Saban problem, but now come to find out, Kalen DeBoer comes in year one and defeats Kirby and out coaches Kirby in the first half and on the last play. So hey, until we can beat Bama, my doubts are gonna that we could beat Bama this year. I haven't seen it happen. So hopefully I'm wrong on that one. I'm not really worried about Tennessee because I think pound for pound we are more talented than Tennessee is. Tennessee lost a lot. They lost Sampson and Nico transferred. So it's a lot of James Pierce is with my Falcons. So it's you lost your big three. You lost Dylan Sampson, you lost Nico, you lost James Pierce. The big three are gone. So you're going to have to replace them. So they're pretty much dealing with what we're dealing with this year. But I think Georgia is a hell of a lot more deeper. We have way more depth than Tennessee. So not really worried about Tennessee. The game that we definitely need to watch out for, the team that we definitely may need to watch out for that could possibly catch Georgia sleeping is the Auburn Tigers. They are sneaky good on offense. They have a hell of an offense, juggernaut of an offense. Jackson Arnold transferred to Auburn. He will be their starting quarterback. And in my opinion, he may turn out to be the best quarterback that Auburn has had in a while, since you got to go back to probably Bo Nix, the last time that Auburn has had, this caliber of talent at quarterback. The defense is going to be a question mark for Auburn. Can Auburn's defense slow Georgia down enough to allow them? I think it's going to be a scoring match. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because Auburn has so much on offense, but I think that their defense is going to be a little suspect. But if it's any time that Auburn could catch Georgia slipping, it could be this year, because from what I'm hearing, it's going to be a 6 o'clock kickoff in Jordan-Hare, which at that time, by the time the game ends, it's going to be nighttime. Nighttime in Jordan-Hare, anything can happen down there. Just ask Bama fans. So then we go into November, and there's the Texas game, and everybody in America is going to be picking Texas around that time. Everybody is, and I think that is what's going to work against Texas, where the media is in love with them. They're hyping them up. They're the America's team of college football, in my opinion. The Texas Longhorns are America's team in college football. And I have not seen a team come in with this much hype in 10 years. You got to go back to the 2015 Ohio State Buckeyes with Ezekiel Elliott and Cardell Jones. They came in with a lot of hype in 2015. The return of Braxton Miller, and they came in with a lot of hype that year. Man, they came up short. They didn't win the national title, and I think that made Texas may. The thing about it with Texas, they're going to come into that game against Georgia in Sanford Stadium. No one is going to pick Georgia. Everyone is going to pick Texas. It's going to be disrespect that entire week, and no one can get a team hyped up off of bulletin board material than Kirby Smart. So, not really afraid of that game because it's in Athens. And even though Texas will be coming off a bye week, Kirby Kirby is just the best developer and the best game manager in the game today. So that is the one thing, the one huge advantage that Georgia has going for them versus every other team in the nation. So are the Georgia Bulldogs being disrespected, in my opinion? No, I don't. I don't think they're being disrespected. I think everyone's concerns is valid. That O-line. Can Georgia run the ball? Can Georgia protect the quarterback? Can they give Gunnar Stockton enough time to throw the ball? Or is it going to be a situation like what we witnessed in that Sugar Bowl? We as Georgia fans, and I will admit, I'm a born and raised diehard Georgia Bulldog fan. And we have to be honest. We have to be open and honest. This O-line is young. This O-line is young, and we don't really know what to expect. It kind of reminds me of the 2021 season. We came in that year, they had us preseason ranked at number 6 because the O-line was young. Now we came in with a juggernaut of a defense. The defense was loaded. We knew that. But the question mark was the O-line, and the O-line stood up in that Clemson game. They played decent. They wasn't lights out. They got better. And the thing about the O-line is, the O-line, as the season goes along, they develop chemistry. I'm talking about a young O-line. They develop chemistry and they improve as the season go on. So I think starting off the season with less caliber opponents this year versus last year. Now, if we were playing Clemson, if we were opening up the season against Clemson this year, I think we would take an L. I'm just being honest with you. This O-line would not be ready to go into that situation, like playing a Clemson or playing an Ohio State or playing a Michigan in week 1. So to start off with Marshall, and then I think it's Austin P, and then we play Tennessee. I think that was a great situation for this young O-line to go into this year. There's some 2 cupcake warm-up games, then go into Neyland Stadium, and that is going to be a tall order. I don't give a damn who's the quarterback or what the record is. That is a tall order. Neyland Stadium is one of the toughest places to go into. You're talking about going into Neyland Stadium early in the season, and that they haven't beaten Georgia in 9 years. 9 years. This is the last time Tennessee beat Georgia, and that was off of a Hail Mary. that was off of a Hail Mary. So honestly, really, you take away that Hail Mary, and Tennessee hasn't really beaten Georgia decisively since 2015. But Kirby has had their number and it really hasn't even been close. So that place is going to be bonkers. That place is going to be bonkers on that Saturday. But at the end of the day, I just think Georgia has too much talent, too much depth, too much talent on offense and too much talent on defense for that Tennessee team. I think they'll wear them down in the second half and take over. So that's my prediction for that. The Alabama game is a toss-up. But if there's any game that Georgia may drop, it will be that one. And listen, so we have a home winning streak going on, but how many streaks of ours has Alabama snapped? Just ponder on that. How many winning streaks that we've had going, and we run into Alabama and they snap them. So um, I'm very excited about this season. I definitely think this is a playoff team. Now, is this a national championship team? We'll see. I just, I don't know about. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not as confident about about a national championship like I was last preseason of last year, and definitely of 2023 to going into 2023. I was like, oh, we got this. We're going to three-peat. No, there's no doubt we're going to three-peat. Last year, I was, very confident because we had a lot of veteran talent coming back. A lot of veteran talent on the O-line coming back. So I felt the D-line. I knew the D-line did not look the same as it did in 2023 and 2022, and that was my concern. The D-line last year, and then it showed up. We were terrible against the run. Our run defense was terrible. That ultimately cost us in the Sugar Bowl. We were not able to stop Riley Leonard on those RPOs. We were not able to stop those Notre Dame running backs. They just gave us fit. When we were not able to get off the field on third down. And that right there, everyone, that is going to be the deciding factor and decide the fate of the Georgia Bulldogs season. Can that defense get off the field on third down? That right there is the question. Right now, I don't know. I can't go off a G-Day game, so I don't know. But we will find out. We will find out. So everyone, I want to thank you all for coming out. Make sure you hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel, 20 East Sports Media. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And later on tonight, I will be over at my brother's channel, D Truth. He'll be doing sports after hours with D Truth. We're going to be talking about today's sports events, and we'll be discussing a little bit more of SEC football around the SEC. But I just wanted to come on here and give my opinion. Has the Georgia Bulldogs been disrespected this offseason? I don't think so. I think they've been fairly, the reporting on Georgia in the offseason has been fair and balanced. There are some question marks on the O-line. I have some question marks on the O-line. I really do. And the question marks about the defense. Can the defense get off the field on third down? In my opinion, I think we had a very good defense last year. We had a very good defense last year. We're the only team that was able to hold Texas to less yards. We held Texas to lesser yards than Ohio State did in the playoffs. So our defense did a number on Texas, but the thing was, the problem we had most of last season is that we could not get off the field on third down. That is going to be the key. That is going to be very important, and that is what I'm going to be looking for. Even against the inferior opponents, we had issues of getting off the field on third down. Remember the UMass game. So Georgia Bulldog fans, you have to be open and honest. You have to be open and honest. You can love a team, root for a team, but you have to be open and honest with yourselves. This team had issues on getting off the field on third down last year. So hopefully those issues have improved. So everyone, hit that like button. Thank you all. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. I'm Armondo Black, and this has been 2 Live Sports. See you next time.